Okay. So as I mentioned, this is the mindfulness and on how to stay present during skin picking and hair pulling urges. So I hope you enjoy. So what can you expect from this webinar? So this webinar should, as I said, should be about 30 minutes. We will have a Q&A session at the end. So I won't be answering any questions during the webinar. So please don't raise your hand, as I mentioned earlier. Unless you cannot hear me or see me, then I will attend to it. So we will be answering all questions at the end of the session. So you can, during the session, you could just pop your question in the chat box. Yeah, so this webinar is a hands-on experience, learning about mindfulness and how to actually apply it during urges. So just an overview. So we're going to be talking about what is mindfulness. How does mindfulness help with picking and pulling? We will be going through 2 mindfulness exercises, and then we will we're doing a short Q&A at the end of the session. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness means paying attention on purpose. So it's to be to the present moment without any judgment. It is about observing your thoughts, emotions, and sensations without trying to change them. It helps shift from autopilot, so that's reacting without thinking, to awareness, so that's making conscious choices. The core elements of mindfulness are awareness. So it's being fully present in the moment instead of being caught up in thoughts about the past or the future. It's non-judgmental. So it's observing those thoughts and emotions without labeling them as good or bad. Acceptance. So it's acknowledging what you're experiencing rather than trying to fight it or push it away. And intentionality. So it's making a conscious choice about how to respond rather than acting on impulse. So many of us live much of our lives on autopilot. So it's acting out of habit without really thinking about it. So for example, sometimes I do this myself. I have a destination in mind. I jump in my car and I just start driving, and I arrive at the event or the destination without giving much thought into, going left or right and changing lanes, without much thought or instruction. Another example is specifically when it comes to skin picking, could be perhaps you have picked your skin and you only noticed after you saw a scab or blood on your fingers or on your face, or perhaps you pulled your hair and later you just discovered some hair strands at your desk or at your computer. So this is what autopilot means. It's you are reacting and behaving without even fully being present, being aware of your actions. So this happens because the mind naturally seeks efficiency, which means some behaviors like skin picking or hair pulling can become automatic. So mindfulness disrupts this automatic cycle by helping us slow down and notice what's happening in the moment rather than acting impulsively. So how can mindfulness help with skin picking? So many people don't notice they are picking until after the fact. And again, this also applies to hair pulling. So mindfulness brings awareness to early signals in such as tension in the hands, scanning for rough spots in your arms or your face or back, or the initial urge to pick or pull. So this awareness creates a moment of choice. Instead of reacting automatically, you can pause and decide how you would like to respond. Often skin picking and hair pulling is a way to escape discomfort, which could be stress, anxiety, boredom, or even frustration. So instead of pushing those feelings away, mindfulness helps you to acknowledge and tolerate them without needing to act on them. So techniques like urge surfing, which we will be practicing later in the webinar, show that urges are like waves. They rise and they peak and eventually fall away if we don't engage in them. Without mindfulness, urges often feel automatic and uncontrollable. So one moment there's an urge, and the next you're picking or pulling. But mindfulness helps us slow down this process by allowing you to pause before reacting. So instead of immediately acting on an urge, mindfulness creates a gap between the urge and the action. So a moment where you can observe the urge without obeying it. So this space gives you the chance to choose a different response rather than acting on impulse. So an example is, imagine you feel an itch or a rough spot on your skin. Without mindfulness, your hand might automatically go up to start picking. But with mindfulness, you notice the urge as it arises, and you could perhaps say to yourself, I feel the urge to pick or pull in the circumstance of hair pulling. That's just an urge. It doesn't mean I have to act on it. Or you could say, this sensation will pass if I wait. And you could also ask yourself, what's another way I could respond right now? So perhaps it could be doing a breathing technique. Perhaps it would be removing yourself from the current environment you're in. Perhaps it would be reaching for a fidget. So this moment of choice is powerful because it breaks the cycle of automatic behavior. So you are no longer a passenger to your impulses. You're actively deciding how you would like to respond. Many people feel guilt, frustration, or even shame after picking or pulling, which could lead to more picking or pulling. As we know, this is quite a vicious cycle. But mindfulness can teach us to respond to these setbacks with kindness instead of self-judgment and criticism. So again, through mindfulness, you could learn to say, I am really struggling right now, and that's okay. This moment is hard, but I can meet myself with kindness. We recently hosted a self-compassion webinar. It was a couple months ago, where we did practice techniques and exercises on how to do this. I do suggest that you go have a look at that webinar. It was a webinar just dedicated on understanding self-compassion and practicing self-compassion techniques and tools. If you would like a direct link to that webinar, you can email us at support@skinpick.com or support@trickstop.com, or you can just look at our YouTube channel. There's a selection of all the different webinars that you can choose from. Think of urges like waves in the ocean. So they rise, swell, and feel powerful for a moment, but no wave lasts forever. So just as a wave eventually crashes and recedes back into the sea, your urge will also peak and pass. So you don't have to fight it or get swept away. Just observe it, breathe, and let it move through you. So this keeps the natural ebb and flow feeling while reinforcing the idea that urges don't last forever. So we're at the end of all the content side of the webinar. Now we are at the fun side. So we're going to be doing 2 exercises to demonstrate and practice on how mindfulness can actually help us during a skin picking or a hair pulling urge. So let's get to the first one. So as I mentioned earlier in the webinar, urge surfing. So this particular technique is going to help us observe the urge without reacting to it. So again, it's like watching a wave rise and fall in the ocean. So this particular exercise, we won't be doing it here right now because I don't want to incite or trigger a particular urge. Obviously, that could be quite harmful. So all I want you to do is listen, perhaps maybe even take some notes, and you can then apply this to when you are when you actively are feeling an urge. So when an urge does come along, I want you to notice the urge. So not reacting to anything just yet. I just want you to notice it. So where do you feel the urge? And I want you to analyze your body. So do you feel it in your hands, in your fingers, your face, or in your arms? Then I also want you to describe it. So does it feel like tingling or pressure or heat? Or are you feeling a bit restless? Is it strong or subtle? Is it constant or coming in waves? I want you to observe without reacting. So instead of fighting the urge or trying to push it away, just notice it. So imagine in this scenario, you're a scientist studying it without judgment, just curiosity. So again, maybe you could even say to yourself, I notice the urge, but I don't have to act on it. So we ride the wave of the urge. So again, imagine the urge as a wave in the ocean. It starts small, it builds up, it could peak, and then it could fade. Again, during this time, I want to remind you that breathing is incredibly important. So keep breathing, again, through your nose, hold it for 3 counts, and then breathe out through your mouth. So keep breathing as you watch the urge rise and fall. Again, I want you to be curious and notice how the urge is moving or changing. So is it maybe the same after this period of time? Has it maybe shifted? Has it maybe faded away? Has it maybe increased? So if the urge does change, I want you to acknowledge this. So again, perhaps you could say, I've just proved to myself that the urges don't last. They are changing. And again, you could, there's a lot of self-talk here, again, with kindness and self-compassion. So you could say to yourself, perhaps, see, I didn't need to act on it. Urges do come and go, and they do change in intensity. So you could move forward with a small mindful action. So you could perhaps maybe do a stretch. You could sip some water. You could grab for a fidget. Or you could just gently, I'm not sure if you can see me, but you could just gently just rub the palms of your hand. It's quite a soothing technique. Again, it's just to bring you back into not fight or flight mode, not submitting to that urge. It's just to bring you back into that present moment. If the urge is still strong, I want you to remember that it is also okay. So some urges do last a little longer than others, and just gently redirect your attention. So you try grounding yourself. So in the next slide, in the next exercise, we're going to be doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. So you could then practice that in this scenario. Or again, you could engage your hands in another way. So you could maybe squeeze a stress ball, or you could play or hold a textured object. And again, I want you to remind yourself with compassion and kindness. And you could say to yourself, maybe, this is hard, but I am practicing and I don't have to get this perfect the very first time or the second time or the third time. Um, and if you do act on the urge, again, I want you to talk to yourself with kindness. Again, reminding yourself that this is hard. I am okay, and I don't have to get this right on the very first time. It is going to take a little bit of practice. After this, after this experience, I want you to choose a small act of kindness and self-care. So you could place a hand on your heart. You could stretch again, or you could listen to your favorite music, or do anything that helps you to feel like you are taking care of yourself, because you are a priority. So just remember, the goal isn't to make the urge disappear. It is to practice not automatically reacting to that urge. So over time and with some practice, this makes the urge feel less overwhelming and a little bit more manageable. So this exercise, as we mentioned in the first one, you can practice this exercise anytime you want. So it could be during the urge surfing. It could be when you're just feeling a little bit of stress. It could be at the end of a really busy day. It just could be any time where you just need to feel a little bit more grounded. So this is called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise. And this exercise we actually get to practice in this particular session. So this technique is to bring you back to the present moment when you feel the urge to pick or pull. So again, all about mindfulness, this technique shifts focus from urges to your surroundings. So helping you ground yourself. It interrupts the autopilot mode, giving you time to choose how you want to respond. It engages your senses, which naturally calms the nervous system. It pulls your attention away from the urge and back into your body and your surroundings. It creates that space between feeling the urge and then acting on it, which again helps break that cycle of picking and pulling. So this technique doesn't make the urge disappear, just like the first one, but it does help you observe it, your urges, without reacting automatically. So again, the more you practice, the easier it becomes to write out the urges without engaging in picking or pulling. So this one we will practice now. So I'm sure all of you are already seated comfortably. If you're not, just shift in your chair and get comfortable. But I would like you to make sure that both your feet are flat on the ground so you can actually feel the ground underneath you. And relax your hands. So in your lap, or you can put them anywhere where it feels comfortable. I want you to take a deep breath in. So hold it for a second and then slowly exhale. So even if you have asthma or any respiratory challenges, you can also still breathe in and out, but you can just breathe at your natural pace. So we're going to take another deep breath in through your nose. Hold it for 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out through your mouth. And we're going to do it one more time. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it for 3. 1, 2, 3. And out through your mouth. I hope you're feeling a little bit more comfortable and at ease. You can gently close your eyes, or you can keep them open, but you can just have a soft gaze. And now we're going to use our senses to connect with the present moment. So I want you to, there are 5 things that I want you to pick out 5. Obviously, you won't be able to do this if your eyes are closed, but you can maybe imagine, or you can open your eyes for this particular one. So I want you to see 5 things that you can see. So you can look around the room, you can maybe imagine things if your eyes are closed, but I want you to name 5 things that you can see, and you can say them to yourself out loud or in your mind, and they can be anything, big, small. Maybe you see colors on the walls, a book, maybe even your hands, or the way the light shines through the window. Observe these items without labeling things as good or bad. Just notice them. Then I want you to have 4 things you can feel. So now I want you to bring your awareness to touch. So name 4 things that you can physically feel. So right now I can feel the hard surface underneath my feet, the soft, but also hard, smooth, but the hard texture of the table underneath me. I can also feel the coldness of my glass of water. So notice the texture, perhaps on the clothing, against your skin. You can rub your fingertips together and notice the sensation. Maybe you feel the temperature of the air on your skin. Again, you are paying attention to these sensations without judgment, without labeling them good or bad. Now, tune into your sense of hearing, and you can name 3 sounds you can hear, either nearby or in the distance. So perhaps you can hear the hum of a fan, or the birds outside, or the faint sound of your breath, or my voice could be one, or the buzzing of the traffic outside. If you maybe think, I hear nothing, listen more closely. Maybe there's a subtle background noise you hadn't noticed before. Again, we're not going to judge any of the sounds, so we're not going to label the traffic as annoying. We're just noticing that there's a sound of traffic. Now, shift your focus to your sense of smell. So if you can, try and name 2 scents you can detect. So maybe it's the smell of coffee, or the scent of soap on your hands, or fresh air coming through the window. If you can't notice anything, take a deep breath and see if you can detect even the faintest scent. You could even bring your hands to your face and smell your hands. You could smell the residue of the soap still lingering from washing your hands, or you could bring your clothing close to your face and smell the washing powder. Again, not labeling anything. Just noticing what you can smell. Then finally, I want you to bring your awareness to your mouth. So I want you to try and name 1 thing you can taste. So if you have something nearby that you can drink or take a bite of, that would be an easy one. But maybe there's, give yourself a bit of a challenge. Maybe there's a lingering taste of toothpaste or coffee or gum that you chewed earlier, or just the natural taste of your mouth. If you don't taste anything, that's okay. Just notice the sensation of your tongue resting in your mouth. Now take a final deep breath in through your nose. Hold it there for the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And out your mouth. One more time. Breathe in through your nose. Hold for 3. 1, 2, 3. And out your mouth. Notice if you feel a little bit more present. Do you feel maybe a little bit more grounded, a bit more calm? And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes if they were closed. I hope you enjoyed that grounding exercise. As I said, it's such a good exercise that you don't have to, there's no good moment to do this. And as you can see, it takes just a couple minutes and you don't need to have anything. You just need the space around you. And you can do it anytime you're feeling just a little bit overwhelmed, stressed, or anxious. Or thank you for the hearts. Or when you just need just a couple minutes just to bring yourself back into your body, back into the space, and just to forget about everything else that's going on around you. But in particular, it's a really great technique to do when you are in the midst of an urge. So we have come to the end of our webinar. I did say it was short. I did say we weren't going to cover too much content. We wanted to do more exercises. I just want to remind you of the free resources that we do have available. So we have a library of content in blog format. So you can go look at our website. We have a lot of articles that are written on hair pulling and skin picking. As you know, we have a lot of content on our webinar with regards to webinars. So on our YouTube channel and our website, you can go look at all the different webinars available. And we are on all the socials, so you can also follow us. We share a lot of tips and strategies and content around skin picking and hair pulling. If you would like to get hold of us, you can contact us at the following email addresses. So it's support@skinpick.com for the SkinPick program, or it's support@trickstop.com for the Trickstop program. And for those who are wanting to join the program, there is on the screen your $100 discount. So you can use that at the checkout. And if there are any questions, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see what's happening. If there are any questions, you can pop them in now, and I'll answer them. And just don't forget, we have recorded this session, so you will be able to see it in a couple of days, in a day or two after this event. So there's a question here. Or maybe just a comment or a statement. When I focus on the urge, it feels like it intensifies. This is possible, and especially when you first are trying out these techniques, it may feel like it is intensifying, or it might be on your mind a little bit more frequently. It's because you are becoming aware. And as I said during the session, those exercises or even other techniques that you're practicing are not going to make the urge completely disappear. what the exercises are going to be doing. And I see that you did ask this a little bit earlier, and we did address that later on in the session, but it is going to help you more aware and allow you to make choices on how you would like to react. So I know it might be difficult, especially now if it feels like it's intensifying. I want to remind you that it is okay, and you're also not alone in experiencing this. So your experience is validated, and I want you to try and breathe through those moments and perhaps maybe try some of those techniques to see how the urge intensity shifts and adjusts. Just reading some more questions. Could you write the 5 modes? Are you referring to the earlier slides when we were talking about, the awareness? If that's the case, you obviously will be able to go through the webinar again when we upload it. So you'll have all the information there. There's another comment. Love doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mindfulness exercise. Thank you so much. Your voice is so tranquil and soothing. I feel so much calmness. It's so wonderful to hear. I'm glad that you enjoyed it and it was beneficial. Me narrating the exercise, I also felt very calm. So it's a great technique. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. Just reading through more questions. Okay, so I struggle with cheek biting, which always feels more automatic than my skin picking. Should I use the same grounding techniques? I feel like it's easier to scan with my tongue. So I'm not sure if you are aware that I think it was last week, in fact, that we did do a automatic versus focused picking and pulling webinar with Dr. Sophia Wensler. So that currently is on our YouTube channel and website. Was a really good session just to get you to understand the difference between focus and automatic picking and how automatic picking manifests and how you can deal through those as well. I would certainly suggest working on the grounding techniques. The thing about automatic picking is that you are not aware, so you are reacting unconsciously. So, as the word says, you're reacting automatically. So again, practicing mindfulness can help you practice to be more present. So you are more aware. So I would definitely suggest practicing some mindfulness techniques such as the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Not necessarily during that urge, because obviously you're saying it's automatic, so you might not even be aware that you're currently in an episode, but you can practice it throughout the day when you're feeling just a little bit of tension. So remember, we said that part of mindfulness is identifying when those subtle feelings that we can feel of the urge is starting to creep through. So we might be feeling just a little bit restless or slightly agitated or maybe just a bit fidgety. Maybe those perhaps are your early signs that you can start practicing the grounding techniques that will then help you become more aware that you might be experiencing an urge. I hope that answers your question. There's a question here. Is hair pulling and skin picking related to ADHD? No, to answer your question quickly and to summarize it, no, it is not. It is related and under the umbrella of OCD, so obsessive compulsive and related disorders. So skin picking and hair pulling, which is trichotillomania and excoriation disorder, are classified as their own categories within the umbrella of obsessive and compulsive disorders. But remember that it's quite common for someone to be experiencing hair pulling to also experience OCD or ADHD. So you might be identifying that particular relation. There are so many questions and they're long, so I'm just reading through them. I'm also mindful of the time as well. So there's a question here. What about nail biting? Is that related to skin picking and hair pulling? So nail biting is classified as a subtype of skin picking. And remember, skin picking is the colloquial or the common word for excoriation disorder. So yes, nail biting is part of the skin picking family. Or to broaden that even further, skin picking and hair pulling is part of the body focused repetitive behavior group, which is the BFRBs, and nail biting is one of them. Yes. Yes. Someone just BFRB equals body focused repetitive behaviors. That's correct. I'm just reading through a few more questions. So there's a question here. So when I feel something to pick, it is just blind panic. So something I need to fix. Knowing what you should do and need to do go out the window. Any advice to snap out of it quickly? I apologize for my dog. They're getting a bit excited. Yes, so again, this is quite common when it comes to hair pulling or skin picking, that an urge, when we're speaking about the different types of urges, so they can be strong, they can be, as they wane, wax and wane. So when an urge can be incredibly strong, it can be, you may feel incredibly powerless to do anything other than to act on that urge. So knowing what you should do and need to go out of the window, any advice to snap out of it quickly. So again, it's trying to practice those mindfulness techniques to try and train your brain that when you are feeling these moments of tension or anxiety, or when you're feeling overwhelmed, that you are giving yourself that ability to stop, pause, and decide how you want to react, despite how intense those urges are. And again, just reiterating what I said earlier, especially if your urges are incredibly intensive, it may not work automatically. You may not succeed immediately, but with practice and other techniques and tools, obviously, and I'm specifically talking about, having someone, a therapist, to guide you and support you through this. Mindfulness techniques, such as the ones I've just taken you through now, are not the only thing that is going to get you through the urge. There are obviously really important things that you do need to work through with a therapist as well. So I would just start with the exercises, practice them, be consistent. It's something that I try and talk about on a regular basis. The success of managing hair pulling and skin picking is your commitment to doing the work and completing the exercises, listening to your therapist, completing the tasks that they assign to you, and really committing to doing what you need to do. So yeah, I don't know if that also answers your question. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, last question. Any suggestions or advice around family members pointing out my hair pulling and making you feel guilty about doing it when I work so hard on working on my controlling my urges through CBT. So this is a common concern of many with regards to family members. So some of you may or may not know, I have two family members who suffer from skin picking and hair pulling. And I know as a family member or as a loved one who has someone who's experiencing this, it is so difficult and it's so hard to watch them go through this and not be able to help them, find a way of getting through this. But what you can do, what you can suggest is, if you're up to it, and if those family members are people that you feel comfortable speaking to, is that you could talk to them about how they can be supportive to you. So talking to them about, pointing out my bald spot or the scab on my face really makes me feel bad. It doesn't make me feel good. And I know that you want to help me. I know you're just trying to support me, but this is how you can do that. So you can give them the solutions or suggestions on how they can support you. We do have some ideas and some suggestions that you can read on our blog as well, that you could perhaps maybe share with them. You can share the article with them and they can read it. But again, it's also perhaps asking them to educate themselves. So ask them to attend the webinars or watch the recordings or read some of the blog content. The more they're educated and informed on skin picking or hair pulling, the more they will be in a position to understand what you're going through, and understanding that pointing those things out could be potentially more harmful than helpful. But again, I just want to say that this is you and this is your life. So you speak to them and you tell them what is helpful to you, on how you would like them to support you or react to you or respond to you in whatever makes you feel comfortable. Okay, last question. I did say last question one question ago, but just there's a question here about the cost of the program. So yes, there's a discount that gives you $100 off of your first month. The full price of the program is $260. But that's inclusive of the full program. So it's all the modules that the therapist assigns to you. It's access to a therapist, so you are able to engage with them through text-based communications as many times as you need. It also grants you access to weekly support groups that are hosted through video and through Zoom calls. And you also have access to all of our tools and exercises. So it's an incredible value for money. However, we also do understand that cost is a concern for many. So if you aren't able to afford the full cost, please do email us, because we do have alternative options as well. And we want to we obviously don't want a cost to be a barrier in getting support. So please do email us. And I want to thank, unfortunately, we weren't able to get through all the questions. And also just quickly, the cost it is subscription based, so it does renew every 4 weeks. I hope everyone enjoyed the session as much as I did, and you feel a little bit more calmer after the exercises we completed. If you want to go back to the scripts, you are welcome again to go through the recordings and take it slow. And thank you so much, everybody. And I hope to see you all soon and at the next one. Be well.